don't have any thoughts on this.
Have you seen what your father sent to Paul?
This is despicable. My father was never a gentleman, but this crosses the line. I knew that father wasn't fond of Paul, but this is just awful. If only he could have seen how good Paulie is to me. I don't have any thoughts on this. I'm afraid I can't add anything useful.
Are you aware that Paul smuggles drugs for a dangerous gang?
Mr. Holmes, I've already told you. I call him a pirate in play. He's not an actual pirate. He's a champion and a brave gentleman, not a thug.
Let us agree to disagree on that. But don't be surprised if one of his clients knocks on your door. The game is on.
So, what's the plan? I hope it all doesn't go horribly wrong.
We know that the elephant is seeking a female. We can arrange that. A doll with the appropriate scent might do miracles.
So, you're a marriage broker. Well, I suppose that makes me a groomsman. You forgot about your new friends, Sherlock, Nabe and Laura. You won't reunite the trilogy.
Oh, are you enjoying torturing me? Those are your friends, John. I have a case to solve.
Well, it's up to you. But I think you'll regret it. Oh, she is a bit breezy, I must say.
Well, Goliath is eager for a single female elephant in his area. It should be just enough for his taste. You'll need to trust me.
Are we ready? I can't stand the tension.
We're ready. Let's call the elephant.
How could anyone resist? I knew a lady once who said just that. Too bad I'm not an elephant. Take your time, Sherry. That deserves a slap. And then a kiss.
And here's our lovesick friend.
What is the meaning of this? Why are you bringing it here? I won't allow you to leave.
I assure you that it is only a temporary measure. It won't be long until the elephant is gone, I promise you. It injured itself while running through the forest. Peaceful and compliant, almost a gentleman. The left tusk is larger and more worn. You're a left-tusked elephant. There's something in the needle. A feathered fletching. This might be promising.
Stop.
You are guilty, Mr. Swift. Killing Theodore Gilden was a testing challenge. You succeeded.
What makes you think I'm somehow involved in Gilden's death? My partner's death, I might remind you.
Your dart uses strychnine to kill rodents at the site, is that correct?
Well, yes, that is its purpose.
The same dart with strychnine was found on Goliath. The very same substance is a powerful stimulant. It causes convulsions, a flow of energy. You shot Goliath. The elephant became extremely energetic, agitated, and so terrified that it killed its owner. For a man of your age, it was easier to hit a larger grey target than a small man.
You said it yourself. Goliath killed Theodore, and your strychnine speculations are absurd. Only athletes use it as a stimulant, not elephants.
True, but one dart of strychnine would not be enough to kill the elephant, and you knew it. Let me tell you a story. A man spends almost 5 years of his life locating an artifact. He puts every ounce of energy and money into his research. The same man even goes so far as to sign a contract with a ruthless man, a businessman. It was a risk, but the reward would be worth it. Years go by and there's still no result, so the businessman decides to end the man's research. He spits on the research, he promises to bury the site under an eccentric project. All of this is just his whim. Theodore Gilden could do anything he wanted with this place, and you were anxious about the fate of your research. You wished to protect it. You tried to tame Gilden's eccentricity, but you killed him instead.
Theodore wasn't trying to sabotage my career. We had a disagreement, but it wasn't as dire as you describe it. He wasn't a pleasure to talk to, but killing him? Nonsense.
You were there when Theodore Gilden died.
Nonsense. I visited him many times, but I wasn't there when the elephant killed him.
Then I must have made a mistake, because the murderer met Goliath's rage personally. The perpetrator was hit by the gate and thrown into the shed. Your bruise matches the contour of the broken hole. One further detail is that the murderer had a bosun's knife, fairly useful in a place where one might cut ropes and fabric, such as, I don't know, the dig site?
That's your interpretation of the facts, Mr. Holmes. You've simply aligned them to suit your hypothesis.
It's not a hypothesis once proven, it's theory, Mr. Swift. Theodore Gilden was a capricious man, extremely impulsive. But the cold-blooded nature of your plan makes you even more dangerous. You feel nothing. You show no remorse. It was simply a calculated move. And that is why you are under arrest.
Nothing. You have nothing on me.
I think I'll let the police decide if my findings are substantial enough for prosecution.
This is all a dreadful mistake. This can't be happening. The elephant killed Theodore.
Goliath is innocent and he should be free. He is not the real murderer here. That is the apex of your career, Mr. Swift. Farewell.
I told you Mr. Swift was not a real archaeologist. He was a murderer. I knew there was something wrong with him.
Fortunately for us, being a murderer was not his profession. And about the elephant.
While you were busy, I've dealt with it. No thanks to you. I asked you to solve this wretched problem, but you didn't.
I couldn't be in two places at once, Miss Gilden. I was catching your father's murderer. But how have you dealt with it?
A man agreed to take the elephant away. He came to me asking for permission to relocate it to his property, and I accepted.
Well, congratulations, I suppose. That is one less problem.
Actually, two, Mr. Holmes. I found my father's possessions that you can take with you and disappear.
I appreciate it, truly.
Well, someone has to do something. Take everything if you need to, and leave me be.
Take care of yourself, Miss Gilden. My mother always wore this around her neck until one day it disappeared. I was wondering where it went. She said it was a birthday present from a good friend. I just had another glimpse of a memory, John. It's fuzzy, but I'm sure it happened somewhere in the manor.
Finally moving forward. Shall we go? You know, I envy you, Sherry. You can talk to other people and they won't ignore you.
And I envy you. You can ignore any person you're bored with. You don't miss out on much. Most men are dull, unlike yourself.
Well, I'm flattered.
I had a surprise for my mother. I was holding an ancient Greek vase, or... You had a shovel with you, John. I remember now. We dug up the vase from Greek ruins here on Cordona, and were eager to show my mother right away. For some reason, the door was closed. We knocked.
But nobody answered. We thought that she was busy.
So we left the vase and ran downstairs. I decided to gather some archaeological tools in order to take a closer look at the vase.
But then we heard something, didn't we?
Yes. It came from upstairs.
The vase was broken, shards scattered all over the floor. And your mother was standing at the door.
Indeed, John. I doubt it was her. Let me concentrate. Otto Richter was standing there, furious at us. Dr. Richter told us never to disturb my mother when the door is closed. He said she had broken the vase.
But we didn't believe him. I bet he smashed it. Her things are still here.
Presumably Mycroft never felt the need to sort through it all.
Or couldn't bring himself to.
No. He would have put it behind him and moved on. My brother is not one for sentimentality. This room always reeked with an acrid medicinal stench. And here is the reason. This picture was drawn by my mother. I recognize her hand. There's a date on it, 8th of December, 1868. This seems a bit odd. I can recognize my mother's style, but it's far too sloppy. Dated 12th of February, 1869. It's difficult to tell what this is meant to represent. There's no date at all. Straps on the bed. Just doesn't look right. Seems this was the most frequently used medication. 1 dram dissolved in a glass of water administered daily. Not to exceed 1 dose in 24 hours, not to be given to children.
Oh, I would love to take a bath right now.
Not this one. Surface corrosion suggests it was prone to extreme temperature fluctuations. For medical purposes, I suppose. There appear to be residues of the bottle's contents at the bottom. No labels. I doubt it ever had one.
Do you think the doctor could have used these tools here? I hope not.
It's a strange feeling to read about my father's death in the newspaper. I can't recall anything except... the deep feeling of loss.
You were too young. It happened before we even met. It's so sad.
My mother loved flowers. They made her smile. I remember we would bring a new bouquet every week to make her a bit happier.
That's why we collected all the violet flowers we could find on the island.
Looks like it was damaged by a blunt object. Oh, it brings back some memories.
Look what I found! The White King is under attack. Sherry, can you save him and checkmate the opponent in one... move.
The broken plate shards were all over the floor. Mycroft had to change his suit as the one he was wearing was completely stained. Mother was troubled that morning. Something we did upset her. Dr. Richter tried to calm her down. We had to put the tray with Mother's morning tea down, but why? It's starting to ring a bell. I think it happened in the morning.
You're not even trying, Sherry. Concentrate.
I don't believe you! Liars! Get away from me! It's not true! It's not real!
What? Oh.
Everything will be okay, Sherry. I promise.
It was the morning of the 9th of April, the day my mother died. My mother, she was not just ill, but had. God have mercy.
I'm sorry. That explains why you locked the memory away.
There must be more, John. That was the morning of her death. I need to know what happened. John!
Every time you... I just don't... Please, Sherry, leave it be.
Just breathe, John. You know that I cannot leave the last stone unturned. We are so close.
I know. But can we at least leave it for another day?
Well, history tells us these memories are triggered by our investigation of other matters. I suspect it could not be forced even if I so desired.
Thank you. How are you feeling about all this? Tell me, I'm not the only one reeling.
In the end, little has changed. My mother was still unwell, just not with tuberculosis. What I do not yet understand is why Mycroft lied about it. There are precious few pieces of this puzzle remaining, John. Let us dawdle here no longer.
Indeed. Wait, did you hear that?
Yes. Metallic souls. What is a sailor doing here?
Sherlock Holmes, isn't it? I was looking for you.
With whom do I have the pleasure of speaking?
You can call me your new game. The rules are simple. I have something for you, but you alone must work out what that is.
And that something is my prize, I suppose?
You're a fast learner, sir.
I have no intention of visiting your exhibition. I have no interest in amateur artists.
I'm sorry, what?
You are here to invite me to your vernissage, are you not? That square-shaped something in your pocket is an invitation.
Oh, yes, sir, it is, but it is not my exhibition. I only work there, for Mr. Vogel himself. He has sent me to invite you to his gallery.
So you're not from the Mariner's Service?
So even the fact that I'm your game hasn't led you to deduce that something in my appearance must be fake? Disappointing. Mr. Vogel gives you too much credit. Here is your invitation. Mr. Vogel needs your help. I hope you won't fail him again. Farewell.
Mr. Holmes, you came. Oh, how kind. Though now, of course, I realize it is because of my game, not the works on display.
It needn't be one or the other. But yes, your little riddle attracted my attention, Mr. Vogel.
I'm glad to hear it, even if only as a minor distraction before the real game begins.
So, this little game of yours, what's it about?
An enigma to solve. A locked area in the basement with no windows found brutally vandalized. I have no clue how it was possible.
What about this intrusion? What happened?
Last night, I was about to leave the gallery when I heard a noise downstairs. I went to the basement, but I didn't see anything out of the ordinary. It was admittedly a rudimentary inspection. It is not uncommon to get rats down there, so seeing nothing of note, I left and locked up the building. When I returned this morning, alas, I discovered that part of the exhibition had been torched, and there was no sign of the intruder. The mystery being, of course, that all the doors to the gallery were locked exactly as I left them.
And the door to the basement is the only entrance?
Correct. Tell me you're not intrigued.
And this locked area downstairs, what exactly was it?
The under gallery. It's always shut, and I'm the only one with the key.
Ah, so this is your private collection, not part of the gallery.
Oh, no. It's an exclusive exhibition of eccentric pieces. Only a select cadre of artists, investors, and collectors are admitted. Not everyone deserves to have their eyes opened.
Well, this matter is certainly within my wheelhouse.
This intrusion troubles me. Please take a look around if you're willing. The under gallery is through the door at the end.
I will see what I see.
You sure you don't like art, Sherry? Back home, we've got a taxidermist. He's gonna have a heart attack when he sees what I bring him.
Closed with a metal bolt. Footprints. Size 9.5. Old, and hasn't been used for a long time. The left step's length is shorter than the right. It indicates that the walker was lame. A true artist never shows an unfinished piece.
Sherry, how about some company in that dreary chamber of yours?
Leave my loneliness unbroken, John. A handprint of the thing from another world. But it looks fresh, and its coal origin ruins the effect of the extra mundane. Sodden and mould-ridden. One presumes deliberately. Ugh, sheer vandalism. Only an ignorant person could do such a thing. A Malpalbot. Coal fingerprints. I think we're looking for a man with a coal moustache. The intruder entered the basement through the coal chute. He used a magnet to open the hatch bolt. He accidentally pushed a shovel to the floor. Vogel heard the noise. At the sound of his approaching footsteps, the intruder hid inside the coffin. When Vogel entered the basement, he failed to notice anything strange and left without properly checking. The intruder waited until Vogel had left the caravanserai before burning the paintings in Wilde's room, but the vandalism was a cover for the theft. The pieces are not what I expected.
What do you think my collection is about?
Dozens of priceless works amassed simply for the sake of it and presented without care. It's not about the art, it's about excess, yes?
I don't know.
But that's absurd. Of course you know. It's your gallery.
There is no one answer, no singular truth, but many filtered through the subjective mind. That forgetting, embellishing, lying machine. Besides, what's wrong with a lie if it makes life more interesting?
What's wrong with a lie? It corrupts the ability of others to behave freely and rationally.
Men never act freely and rationally anyway. It matters not what is or isn't in the end. The only important thing is how you feel. And I simply want to feel and consume as much as I can. Don't you?
Feelings are simply one's animal ancestry trying to wrest back control of the brain. I try to avoid the distraction.
You try not to feel, even in a place like this? None of it moves you?
To be frank, I struggle to maintain even a whit of interest in art.
But Mr. Holmes, it is joy incarnate, mankind's greatest achievement.
Mankind's highest achievement above all others is objective and rational thought.
I see then why you dislike art, for it means whatever you want it to.
Or perhaps, Mr. Vogel, I was lying.
Aha.
Mr. Vogel, my investigation has revealed that the intrusion was not merely vandalism but theft. The limping visitor left your place with a canvas.
That's very impressive.
This thief was familiar with the gallery and he was sporting a limp. Do any of your clients or artists come to mind?
My, your attention to detail is remarkable, Mr. Holmes. I should introduce you to Bosch's works. Alas, I'm afraid I cannot suggest a culprit.
The intruder entered the basement through the coal chute. He used a magnet to open the latch and dislodged the shovel while doing so. That's the noise you heard yesterday. When you went downstairs to investigate, he hid in the coffin.
It seems I should have checked the space more thoroughly.
The fire was a clever attempt to hide a stolen painting, even if it didn't fool me. I found the remnants of an empty frame in the pile of ashes. The canvas had been removed. Do you know which paintings in the Wild Room may have interested a thief? Were any particularly expensive?
Those pieces belong to a well-known artist named Boniface Mercurio. They're controversial, but not of a notably high value.
There's something more, is there not? I can see it in your eyes.
Indeed. There is another intriguing angle. I recently received an anonymous offer for one of Mercurio's works. The sum was more than fair, and indeed could have saved Mercurio from his artistic poverty. But he declined it.
Was it a performative whim? Some artists lionize pain and hardship as if their work would be worse after a meal and a hot bath.
I cannot tell. But not only did he refuse the deal, he insisted on displaying the painting in the public space. I was hoping to change his mind, but artists are a special breed of stubborn.
So where can I find Boniface Mercurio?
I know he lives somewhere in Old City, but couldn't be more specific. He's a prominent figure, so finding him shouldn't be a problem.
What was depicted in the piece?
A bound woman, wrapped in robes, being penetrated by a red devil that stared at us, the viewer. The beast had numerous tails growing from his back, and a large crowd gathered around the pair, silently watching the orgiastic scene.
Okay, well, given the nature of the other works on display, it's hard to see why that one stood out. What could possibly be its value?
The evaluation of art is very subjective, Mr. Holmes. After all, art is everything. A poem, a bruise, the beads of sweat on your beloved skin. Even a masterfully solved crime.
I'm not sure I see the connection.
Regardless, the painting was one of a series called The Sabbath Night in Cordona. The works depict sex, violence, and other controversial acts that life, for better or worse, contains.
Ah, I see.
I'm not sure that you do, but that can wait for another time.
Well, I believe I have enough to begin. Thank you, Mr. Vogel. Your gallery certainly has unexpected depths.
I'm delighted to have been able to please a friend. In return, I expect you to come back with good news, or at least with a good story.
Stop the presses. Who is Cordona's handsome stranger? Or nosebagger spurns local life? Wait, no. Foppish foreigner hides dark past. Oh, you've made quite the impression already, Mr. Holmes. You care to tell your side of the story?
I'm quite certain I have no idea as to what you refer, and I am further certain I have no interest in indulging your gossip.
Gossip? The truth will come out, but will only be heard if told well. Scandal, daring-do, romance. These are the tools of every good journalist. Nothing travels faster or lasts longer than a great story. Young man, your tale will be told with or without you. My readers demand it.
You already knew my name and seem aware of my doings here in Cordona. I presume this newspaper is your little endeavor?
Yasmin Sertel, editor-in-chief of the Cordona Chronicle. Advocate of the free press, voice of the people, scourge of the silk stocking.
Charmed, I'm sure. As an advocate of the free press, I trust you'll permit me to consult your archives? There are gaps in my knowledge of Cordona.
Oh, so my work does have merit. Well, I think we can strike a bargain. I shall provide you access, and you let me keep writing about your exploits.
So be it.
Brooding bachelor builds bridges. Now that's character development.
I guess I owe you my gratitude.
What can I say? I've always enjoyed working with the Holmes. They whisper such interesting things. Mr. Holmes, I have something for you.
Excuse me, young man. Where do you think you're going?
Greetings, Mum. I'm looking for the...
I don't care who you're looking for. You shall not pass. No visitors allowed.
I wish to buy a painting from Mr. Boniface Mercurio. Is he at home?
Dearie, tell me, because old age has made me blind. Did someone write Information Bureau on my forehead? Because I'm not here to answer your questions. Entry is for residents only. If you aren't a resident, please leave, or I shall report you to the police.
Don't. Let's pick something that suits you. Be careful with what you've taken.
Boniface, sweetie. Is that you? Ah, old age does terrible things to one's sight. I didn't recognize you at first.
How are you, Mum? I'm ashamed to admit that I've lost my key. Do you have a spare?
For heaven's sake! How many times will you lose that key of yours? Of course I have a spare. You artists all live in your own little world.
Please, accept my thanks.
I would rather accept your rent. You promised to pay me several weeks ago, and I'm still waiting.
I will pay you, I promise, very soon.
You'd better do, my dear. Or else I'll just change the lock. And I won't fall for those cow eyes.
Judging by post-mortem rigidity, the body lay here for 1 or 2 days. Soaked in blood. It seems as if the puddle of blood was here before the rags. The wound is precise. It was inflicted by a razor or a knife. A normal kitchen knife. Could be the murder weapon. The photograph was not pulled out in time. Look at this, John. Isn't it our stolen demon? It appears the wine was truly awful. I wonder where he got that fancy camera. Despite the overall tendency towards mess, you cannot sit with the drawer pulled out like this. Someone left it after searching. Aunt May whiskey, brandy bucks. Quite a collection he had here. The chest has been searched. Red skin, tails on the back, reminds me of Werner's description of the stolen painting. The blood has dried.
I've heard of this style of painting. It is called expressionism.
The blood has dried. Mercurio was developing photographs when the intruder snuck in. Mercurio heard him coming. While the thief was searching the chest, the painter ran towards him with a bottle in his hand. He smashed it across the thief's head. The intruder had no choice but to defend himself, and the weapon of opportunity happened to be a kitchen knife. Mercurio stepped aside to grab the painting, but the wine-blinded thief attacked Mercurio's throat. When the thief came to his senses, he saw Mercurio bleeding on the floor. He grabbed the rags and tried to bandage him, but it was too late. Why did Mercurio attempt to snatch the painting in the middle of a fight? To strike the intruder? Not with his painting, it was too important to him. It's time for some chemical magic, John.
That doesn't look like the painting we need, Sherry.
I guess this is his most ordinary painting. Spot the two differences, John? If the intruder didn't take it, the skull should be somewhere here. Monster was actually a man. Poor girl. John, you ought to be thrilled. We are now hunting the devil himself.
What were you saying, Sherry? I was too busy sketching the scene, you know, crimes and such like, daily routine. Did you find something?
A photograph. It depicts a man in a red suit with tails sprouting from his back and multiple people in masks watching the scene. It all adds up.